Amanda Coley thought she'd seen everything in her 3 years as a McDonald's manager. Food fights, drunk customers, people trying to pay with Monopoly money, the usual chaos that comes with working fast food. But nothing prepared her for what happened during what should have been a simple children's birthday party. The McDonald's on 32nd Street in Phoenix still had one of those old play place areas that most locations had removed years ago. Corporate kept saying they'd renovate it, but somehow it never happened. Most parents avoided it anyway. The plastic tubes smelled weird, and half the lights in the play structure hadn't worked since 2019. But on March 8, 2024, Rebecca Martinez had booked the party room for her daughter Emma's 7th birthday. Rebecca specifically requested the play place because Emma loved climbing through the tubes, despite their condition. The party started normally enough. 8 kids, pizza, Happy Meals, the standard McDonald's birthday experience. Amanda was managing the front counter when she first heard the screaming from the play place area. Not happy screaming, not play screaming, terror screaming. Amanda rushed to the party room to find all 8 children pressed against the windows, staring up at the play structure with absolute horror on their faces. Several were crying. Emma Martinez was hyperventilating so badly, her mother was considering calling an ambulance. "What happened?" Amanda demanded, scanning the play place for any obvious safety hazard. "There's someone in there," whispered Jake Morrison, Emma's classmate. "Someone who doesn't belong." Amanda looked up at the maze of colorful tubes and platforms. The play structure was 3 stories high, with dozens of tunnels connecting different sections. The lighting inside was dim even on good days, and today, several more bulbs had apparently burned out. "Kids, there's nobody in there," Amanda said in her most reassuring voice. "You probably just saw shadows or—" "She was looking at us," interrupted Sophia Kim, another party guest. "She was hanging upside down from the ceiling and looking at us with her head twisted wrong." All 8 children nodded vigorously. Even the parents were starting to look concerned. Amanda grabbed a flashlight from the maintenance closet and decided to check the play place herself. She'd done this before when parents worried about their kids getting stuck or when toys were thrown into hard-to-reach places. She climbed up the first platform and called out, "Hello? Anyone in here?" Her voice echoed strangely in the plastic tunnels, creating an odd warping effect that made her own words sound foreign. No response. Amanda crawled through the first tube, sweeping the flashlight beam ahead of her. The tunnel curved to the right, leading to a junction where kids could choose to go up, down, or continue straight. She chose to go up, toward the highest section, where the children claimed they'd seen someone. That's when she heard it. Humming. Someone was definitely humming inside the play structure, but it wasn't a tune Amanda recognized. It was discordant, off-key, like someone trying to remember a song they'd only heard once. The sound seemed to be coming from above her, in the uppermost level of tubes. "Excuse me," Amanda called out, her voice less steady now. "This is a private party. You need to come down." The humming stopped immediately. Amanda waited in the cramped tube, listening to her own heartbeat and the muffled sounds of concerned parents outside. After 30 seconds of silence, she continued climbing toward the top level. The uppermost platform was barely large enough for an adult to crouch in, designed for small children to turn around before heading back down. Amanda swept her flashlight across the cramped space and found it empty, but the smell hit her immediately. It was the smell of something that had been dead for weeks. Rotting meat mixed with something chemical, like cleaning supplies that had gone bad. Amanda gagged and tried to back out of the platform, but something made her look up. There was a woman pressed against the ceiling of the tube directly above the platform. She was somehow holding herself there with her back arched impossibly, her long black hair hanging down like curtains. Her arms and legs were bent at angles that shouldn't have been possible for human joints. And her face was upside down, but she was smiling, a wide, delighted smile, like she was having the best time of her life. "Found me," the woman whispered, her upside-down mouth barely moving. Amanda screamed and scrambled backwards so fast she got stuck in the tube junction. It took her almost 2 minutes to work herself free, while the woman's laughter echoed through the entire play structure. Not normal laughter, but the kind that sounds like breaking glass. When Amanda finally emerged from the play place, she was scratched, bruised, and hyperventilating. The birthday party had already ended. All the parents had gathered their children and left, except for Rebecca Martinez, who was waiting by the door with a pale, shaken expression. "Did you see her?" Rebecca asked quietly. Amanda nodded, unable to speak. "Emma saw her first," Rebecca continued. "She said the lady was hanging from the ceiling like a spider, and that she looked hungry." Police searched the entire play place structure that evening, including accessing the maintenance areas from outside. They found no evidence that anyone had been inside. No fingerprints, no DNA, no indication of how someone could have gotten in or out. But they did find something else. Scratched into the plastic ceiling of the uppermost platform, in letters about 2 inches high, were the words, "Happy Birthday, Emma." The scratches looked fresh. The McDonald's on 32nd Street closed their play place permanently the next day. The official reason given was structural concerns, but employees know better. Amanda Coley transferred to a different location and still refuses to work any shifts that involve children's parties. Emma Martinez, now 8 years old, hasn't been to a McDonald's since her birthday party. According to her mother, Emma still has nightmares about the upside-down lady who wanted to play. Local news never reported on the incident. The police file was classified as resolved, no threat to public safety. But employees at that McDonald's location know that sometimes, late at night when they're cleaning the restaurant, they can still hear faint humming coming from the sealed-off play place area. The birthday party booking system at that location no longer accepts reservations for the party room. Corporate says it's due to renovation scheduling, but the room has remained untouched for 8 months. Kevin Washington had perfected his closing routine over 18 months of working at the McDonald's on Elvis Presley Boulevard. Lock the front doors at 11 p.m. sharp. Finish serving drive-through customers until midnight. Spend 2 hours cleaning and restocking. Then head home with everything perfectly prepared for the morning shift. It was methodical, efficient, and most importantly, predictable. Kevin liked predictable. What happened on September 23, 2024 was anything but predictable. Kevin was working the closing shift alone, which wasn't unusual for a weeknight. The restaurant had been slow all evening, maybe 30 customers total since 6 p.m. By 11:30, he'd served the last drive-through customer and locked the exterior doors. Just him, the fluorescent lights, and 2 hours of cleaning ahead. He started with the usual routine, emptying trash cans, wiping down tables, mopping the floor. Kevin had his earbuds in, listening to a podcast about unsolved mysteries, which he now realizes was probably not the best choice, given what was about to happen. At 12:45 a.m., while cleaning the soft-serve machine, Kevin noticed that the drive-through order screen had lit up. The display showed an order: 1 Big Mac, large fries, and a Coke. Total, $12.47. Kevin stared at the screen, confused. He'd locked the drive-through system down 20 minutes ago, and besides, there was nobody outside. He walked over to the drive-through window and peered into the empty parking lot. No cars, no people, nothing but the buzz of the streetlights. He canceled the order and went back to cleaning. 10 minutes later, the screen lit up again. Same order: Big Mac, large fries, Coke. $12.47. This time Kevin checked the entire perimeter of the restaurant, looking through every window. The parking lot was completely deserted. He canceled the order again and made a mental note to tell his manager about the system glitch in the morning. The third time it happened, at 1:15 a.m., Kevin decided to ignore it. Technical problems weren't his department, and he had a strict schedule to maintain. He left the order on the screen and continued mopping the dining area. That's when he heard the car pull up to the drive-through window. Kevin looked up from his mop to see headlights illuminating the drive-through lane. An older model sedan, dark blue or black, had somehow entered the parking lot without him noticing. The car was idling at the pickup window, engine running. Kevin walked over to the drive-through station, genuinely relieved that there was a logical explanation for the mysterious orders. Obviously, a customer had been trying to place an order from the street or something, and the system had picked it up somehow. "Sorry for the wait," Kevin said into his headset as he approached the window. "That'll be $12.47. The car's windows were heavily tinted, so dark that Kevin couldn't see inside, even with the interior lights of the restaurant reflecting off the glass. The customer didn't respond to his greeting. "Hello?" Kevin tried again. "Your order is 1 Big Mac, large fries, and a Coke, right?" Still no response. The car just sat there, engine idling. Kevin tapped on the window glass. "Hey, are you okay in there?" The car's engine cut off suddenly, leaving the parking lot in complete silence. Kevin waited for someone to get out of the vehicle or for a window to roll down, but nothing happened. After 2 minutes of waiting, Kevin decided to go outside and check on the customer. Maybe they'd had a medical emergency or fallen asleep. It wouldn't be the first time he'd dealt with an unusual situation during closing hours. Kevin unlocked the back door and walked around to the drive-through lane. As he got closer to the sedan, he could see that the windows weren't just tinted. They were covered with something dark from the inside, like newspaper or cloth. "Excuse me," Kevin called out, approaching the driver's side window. "Are you all right?" The window rolled down about 2 inches. What Kevin saw in that gap wasn't a person's face. It was darkness so complete that it seemed to absorb the light from the street lamps. And from within that darkness came a voice that didn't sound quite human. "Where's my order?" the voice asked. The words were perfectly clear, but they seemed to come from everywhere at once rather than from inside the car. Kevin took a step back. I need to go get it. Just give me a minute." He turned and walked quickly back toward the restaurant, his skin crawling with the sensation of being watched. Behind him, he heard the car window roll up with a mechanical whine. Kevin rushed inside and assembled the order as fast as possible. Big Mac, large fries, Coke. His hands were shaking so badly that he dropped the fries twice and had to start over. When he returned to the drive-through window with the food bag, the sedan was gone. Kevin stood in the parking lot holding a bag of fast food, looking around in confusion. There was no way a car could have left the lot without him hearing it, especially not in the 30 seconds he'd been inside. He was about to go back into the restaurant when he noticed something on the ground where the car had been parked. $12.47 in exact change, arranged in a perfect circle on the asphalt. Kevin left the money where it was and returned inside, locking the door behind him. He finished his closing duties in record time, constantly checking the windows for any sign of the mysterious sedan. But the strangest part was yet to come. The next morning, Kevin's manager Lisa called him at home. "Kevin, did you serve a drive-through customer after midnight last night?" "Why?" Kevin asked, already knowing he wasn't going to like the answer. "Because someone left a review on our Google page. Posted at 1:23 a.m., 5 stars. The review just says, 'Perfect service. Order was exactly what I wanted. We'll be back tomorrow night.'" Kevin felt his blood turn cold. What's the reviewer's name? That's the weird part. The account name is just a bunch of symbols, like not even letters or numbers, just symbols that don't make sense. Kevin never worked another closing shift at that McDonald's. He transferred to day shifts only and eventually quit 3 months later. when the mysterious drive-thru orders started happening every night at exactly 12:45 a.m. The current night shift employees report that the orders still come in, always the same: Big Mac, large fries, Coke, always $12.47. And sometimes, when they're brave enough to look outside when the order appears, they see the dark sedan waiting in the drive-thru lane. Nobody has been brave enough to go outside and serve it again. The Google review is still there, if you know where to look. 5 stars, posted at 1:23 a.m. on September 24th, 2024. The account that posted it has no other activity, no profile picture, and a name that appears as a series of symbols that don't exist in any known language. But every few weeks, a new review appears from the same account. Always 5 stars, always posted between 1 and 2 a.m., and always with the same message: "We'll be back tomorrow night." Tyler Rodriguez had been working at McDonald's for 8 months when he volunteered for the overnight shift. The pay bump was decent, and honestly, how hard could it be? Serve some late-night customers, clean up, prep for the morning rush. Easy money. The McDonald's on Chester Avenue in Bakersfield wasn't in the best neighborhood, but it wasn't the worst either. Tyler had worked there long enough to know the regulars. The construction workers grabbing coffee at 5 a.m., the college students coming in for late-night munchies, the occasional drunk person trying to order 20 nuggets at 2 a.m. But on October 15th, 2023, Tyler encountered something that didn't fit any of those categories. It was 1:47 a.m. when the man first appeared at the drive-thru window. Tyler noticed him on the security monitor, tall, wearing a dark hoodie, standing perfectly still next to the menu board. Not in a car, just standing there, staring up at the lit menu. Tyler waited for him to approach the ordering speaker, but the man didn't move. For 10 minutes, he just stood there in the same position, occasionally tilting his head like he was listening to something. Probably drunk, Tyler muttered to himself, focusing on restocking the napkin dispensers. When he checked the monitor again at 2:15 a.m., the man was gone. That should have been the end of it. At 2:32 a.m., Tyler heard tapping on the drive-thru window. Slow, rhythmic tapping. Tap, tap, tap. He walked over, expecting to see a customer who missed the ordering station, but when he looked outside, there was nobody there. The tapping continued. Tyler pressed his face against the glass, looking left and right. The parking lot was empty except for his own car parked under the single working streetlight. But the tapping kept going, seemingly coming from directly in front of the window. He grabbed his phone and called his manager, David, but it went straight to voicemail. Great. Tyler was completely alone with whatever was happening outside. The tapping stopped at exactly 2:45 a.m. Tyler tried to convince himself it was just the building settling, or maybe a branch hitting the window. Even though there were no trees anywhere near the drive-thru, he cranked up the radio and focused on his cleaning duties, checking the monitor every few minutes. At 3:18 a.m., the man was back. This time, he was standing directly in front of the restaurant's main entrance, facing the glass doors. Same dark hoodie, same unnaturally still posture. But now Tyler could see his face in the reflection of the interior lights. The man was smiling, not a normal smile. His mouth was stretched too wide, showing too many teeth. His eyes were completely black in the security footage, though Tyler couldn't tell if that was just poor lighting or something else entirely. Tyler's hands started shaking as he reached for the phone to call the police, but before he could dial, the man started walking toward the drive-thru window. His movement was wrong somehow, too fluid, like he was gliding rather than walking. The man stopped directly in front of the drive-thru window and raised his hand. Tyler could see now that his fingernails were unnaturally long, at least 3 inches, and appeared to be sharpened to points. Then, he started tapping again. But this time, Tyler could see him doing it. The man wasn't tapping with his knuckles. He was using those sharp fingernails, scraping them against the bulletproof glass in a deliberate rhythm. The sound was like nails on a chalkboard, amplified 10 times. Tyler grabbed the store phone and dialed 911, whispering into the receiver about an intruder on the property. The dispatcher said units were en route, but it would be at least 8 minutes. 8 minutes felt like 8 hours. The scraping continued for exactly 3 minutes and 30 seconds, then stopped abruptly. The man stepped back from the window, tilted his head at that strange angle again, and opened his mouth. What came out wasn't quite a scream and wasn't quite laughter. It was something in between, a sound that Tyler later described to police as what you'd hear if happiness itself was dying. Then the man walked away, disappearing into the darkness beyond the parking lot. Police arrived 12 minutes later and found scratch marks on the drive-through window, deep gouges in the supposedly scratch-resistant glass, forming a pattern that nobody could quite make sense of. The marks were still there when Tyler quit 3 days later. But here's the truly disturbing part. When investigators checked the security footage, the man barely showed up on camera. Just faint outlines and shadows, despite Tyler seeing him clearly through the window. The audio picked up the scraping sounds, but visually, it looked like the scratches were appearing on their own. The McDonald's on Chester Avenue now requires 2 employees for overnight shifts. They've never officially explained why. Tyler Rodriguez moved back to his hometown in Oregon and refuses to discuss what happened that night. When pressed by local reporters, he only said one thing: some customers aren't customers at all.